Welcome back to the CharCole podcast with your hosts Cole Larsh and Charlie Preen, doing a little unusual podcast. This is for our final podcast project for the semester. So I think this 22nd episode I just looked up, doing it over Zoom, obviously, because we're not in school and stuff like that. So we may as well just get right into it with the whole, everything that's been going on. First topic. We're going to recap the draft, starting from just the first round, and then recap our thoughts on the first round and stuff like that. So I'll have you start it off, Charlie.
All right. Well, we're not going to go pick by pick, as that'd take forever.
Yeah, that would take forever.
So, obviously, Joe Burrow went number one. I thought the hype for him was a little excessive. I don't know. He's not going to – he's going to literally nobody. They got two good linemen and John Ross in Cincinnati. But we'll see what he can do, and I don't know. And then head on to pick number 2 is Chase Young. I didn't really think he was anything special, and when he went up against the best teams like Clemson, he didn't play very well. And that's something that I think that I noticed was interesting, especially about a number 2 overall pick. And the Washington Redskins really have a lot of faith in him, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We'll kind of go through the top 5, and then we'll just kind of skip around to highlights and stuff. Then 3, Jeff Okudah. I thought this was a really good pick. I thought Okudah would go in the top 5, and most people did have him going at 3. And yeah, he did go to the Lions, and he's going to be really good. I really like the kid. And so yeah, the surprise in the top 5 was Andrew Thomas for sure. Number 4 to the Giants, the tackle from Georgia.
Yep.
I really didn't see him, and not many people actually did see him going at this time. I was very shocked when this happened because I really truly thought they were going to go out for a wide receiver. It's because of the wide receiver class and the depth of it. And then this is kind of something we can talk about now, or we can hit it a little later. Tua or Herbert here at 5 or 6. I mean, what do you think?
I'm thinking that, with their individual teams, it just seems – I don't know, it just seems different. They honestly could have gone either way, in my opinion, 5 or 6, but Miami had the whole, their entire motto of last year, basically. Well, the fans were anyway, not necessarily the team, but it was tank for Tua. And, well, it happened. So, I mean, it really could have gone either way. Justin Herbert 5, Tua 6. But I think each team will make it work, especially since, they're kind of both in really need of a good quarterback.
Right. And I see Los Angeles really using him like they did Phillip Rivers. I mean, he's just that guy, and he can use his feet a little bit more too and Phillip was more of a pocket passer. But Herbert, he's kind of somewhat of a dual threat. I mean, he doesn't have huge legs. He does have off the field issues in the past and stuff, but also too with the injuries. So you weigh that. In your opinion, if you were the Dolphins, are you going to take Tua or are you going to take Herbert?
If I were the Miami Dolphins, I honestly would have taken Justin Herbert. I mean, their talent level is so similar, but you have to factor in all of the injuries and surgeries that Tua has had over the course of his high school and college career. And, when you get into the pros, they have stipulations on where you can hit the quarterback and stuff, but still you're getting hit a lot, and you're getting hit a lot more by bigger dudes. So, I mean, if you really take the injury aspect into it, then I would have went with Herbert instead of Tua, but I mean, they're just kind of interchangeable, basically.
Right. And I agree with you. I think Herbert over Tua, but Miami, I think that's what Miami wanted, and I think it fits their play style also. So, now that that's settled. Heading on, Derek Brown, no surprise there at 7. Nothing else really too surprising coming down the list. Obviously, Wirfs from Iowa got drafted Tampa Bay to protect Tom Brady's backside. That's something interesting for sure. Also, the first wide receiver didn't go off the board till pick 12, Henry Ruggs to Las Vegas. They were very happy about this pick. And I don't Oh, what do you think? Like, was that the best wide receiver in the class?
Well, when you look at how deep the wide receiver class was, you really could have went any different way with all the receivers.
Yep.
Just the sheer amount of receivers and the sheer depth of them. Like, what really surprised me the most was that he went 12. I thought with all the wide receivers, he would have went sooner, especially since, I don't know. There's just so many of them you think he would have went sooner, but I guess not. I mean, 12, Henry Ruggs, solid pick. And then you go, the next wide receiver would have been Jerry Jeudy, 15, and then CeeDee Lamb at 17. So, I mean, they're just kind of, it was such a good wide receiver class, so good and so deep that I think you could have just taken any of them. But like I said, you pick them and you just make it work because they're yours now. So,
Probably the top 5 most interesting picks in the draft was Philadelphia at 21, taking Jalen Reagor from TCU. I really thought they were going to take Justin Jefferson. I really did. And he fell to the Vikings, and that's who the Vikings wanted coming into the draft.
Yep,
they wanted him, and that's who they wanted. But, I mean, that's who we got, and couldn't have worked out better. But I think Reagor really fits their play style. He's kind of a Nelson Aguilar type of guy. So that's who they got. I don't know. Interesting pick.
was pretty interesting.
Nothing much else. New Orleans drafted a center, which was kind of weird. I really thought the Vikings were going to have to settle for Brandon Ayuk, who San Francisco ended up taking there. But probably the most interesting pick in the first round was number 26 at Green Bay. Everyone's thinking where they're going to go. They could go pretty much anywhere. They really need a cornerback, a wide receiver. And what do? Not that.
They trade up for a quarterback. So, I mean,
and they traded for that. You're right. They traded for it. So, what are your thoughts?
I don't know. We'll also get into this a little bit later, but it's just weird that we were looking through these and ESPN had brain fart. Green Bay, their number one need was a wide receiver. Yep. They did not take one. Like, you're thinking, okay, we want to help Aaron Rodgers, give him 4 or 5 more years, 4 or 5 good more years with some good weapons, and then call it a career. But I mean, no, they trade up for Jordan Love, which, I mean, when you think about it, get him underneath Aaron Rodgers' belt so that when he does retire, he knows the scheme, knows how to play, gets him in a little bit faster. But it's just such a weird pick. I mean, you really don't think. I honestly really don't think that if Jordan Love gets picked there, he doesn't get picked in the first round, or maybe even in the second round. But
I think if he does, I mean, he probably does go mid-second. But there wasn't going to be a team before him that picked him, dude.
No. So that was just really interesting. But
Then pick 28, Baltimore took Patrick Queen. I really thought that's going to be a good fit for them, and that's a hole they needed to fill. Not much else. Vikings took Gladney, which is kind of interesting. He's not the fastest, the best ball guy, but he's a big guy, and I guess that's what fits their scheme. It was an interesting pick for sure. And then Edwards-Helaire tops off the first round and goes to Kansas City, which is also interesting there.
Yep. And then off to the notable things that we just kind of wrote down here. There's one running back taken in the first round, which is really odd, especially since he was the 32nd pick, but that just goes to show you how talented this was, and it was Edwards-Helaire went to the Chiefs. Jonathan Taylor went to the Colts at pick 41. There's a really deep wide receiver class. There's 6 wide receivers taken in the first round. And the Minnesota Vikings had 15 draft picks this draft. So, yeah, it's just really interesting to see that for sure.
Was. All right. Well, I think we're going to head on to the old wheel as hopefully we can get this thing up.
Yeah. Topic of the wheel of topics. Here we go.
This is day one stuff right here, guys.
There we go. Right here.
There it is.
We got our 20 topics.
All
Looks like
right.
we got topic number 11.
Yeah, it does. Brown's impact on the NFL. Is that like Antonio Brown or like the Browns? And oh yeah, I remember putting
Yeah,
this down. Yeah,
you put this down. There we go.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's my thoughts because I was ranting to him or ranting to you when I said this. Think about what the Browns have done to people. They've produced one-ish good player ever, and that was Joe Thomas. And in the recent history, at least, I mean, they've obviously produced many good players. I mean, uh,
Yeah.
Brown, the running back. I mean, you think about it, but it's just tough to say. Here's my thoughts. Think about who were we talking about? That guy from Michigan that went in. What was his name?
Julius Peppers?
You no,
No. No.
it was something Peppers though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, he was an athlete in college. He got drafted first round
Yep.
to the Browns and turned out to be an absolute nobody. In that draft, he was probably the top 3, top 5 of one of the probably who I thought was going to be the best in the league. And he turned into nobody. I just think that there's something wrong in that organization. They can't be that bad for that long. Like, it's impossible.
Well, it's obviously not impossible because it's happening as we speak. It's just. I mean, it's weird because you think about it. Everybody's so excited. There's got to be some sort of letdown when you get drafted by the Browns. I mean, let's be honest here. You're going in, say Baker Mayfield going into the draft, Heisman Trophy winner. You're going in, oh yeah, I'm going to be really good in the NFL. You get to the NFL, you get drafted by the Browns, and now you're Baker Mayfield. You have more TV commercials than you do wins.
Yep.
And you really can't blame that all on him because he just doesn't have the weapons. I mean, you have Jarvis Landry and OBJ, but I mean, really, it's just.
I know.
It's just really interesting to see.
It is, and there's something in there that's corrupt that is making this happen. It's weird because if a team does that, they can at least bounce back and do something. I don't know if it's a general manager or what. I mean, they took an offensive coordinator from the Vikings last year in what's his name? Stefanski. Stefanski went to the Browns to coach, and he did terrible, but he was great with the Vikings. So they've done that to like 4 straight coaches. If you start thinking about it, it doesn't quite add up. So
it really doesn't. I mean, there's got to be something. There's just something wrong, but it's really hard to tell because you think they'd bounce back eventually, but they really haven't. And everybody thought last year was the year. Last year was the year they were going to bounce back. And
shoot, I even did, man.
I mean, yeah, Hunter Pranger wore a Baker Mayfield jersey around the school just about every day because he had that much faith in them, and look how they turned out. I don't know what their actual record was, but I mean,
not good.
They didn't turn out very good. So,
all right.
Next topic. See, we got topic number 12.
Coach K likes watching this one.
Yeah.
Thoughts on the South Dakota High School Activities Association, 5 classes for football. I'm pretty sure this already got knocked down, but at the time when we wrote this down, it was still in discussion.
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts on this?
When you think about it, there's really no perfect way to figure out the classes. Yep. It's just impossible. I'm sorry, but it's just impossible. And you can try and try and try and try to fix it, 5 classes. 7 classes you can really argue is too much, especially since you have 11 AAA, but I mean, they're really big schools. You could probably move some of the AA schools up there and try and fix it, but it's just so complicated that you can't get one single fix for it. You know what I'm saying? It's just you just can't fix it right away. It's going to take time, and they've tried fixing it, but it doesn't seem to work. And I mean, I don't know.
It's been a minute since it has been changed, though. I mean, all the way back to probably Chad Greenway in the '99 was that kind of first run. But I don't know. I just think I think I like it how it is. Really, I think it's pretty close to perfect in my opinion. I don't know. Maybe they should change the numbers up a little bit and try to get an actual count, because the average daily membership that some schools are reporting is often not the average daily membership that
Yeah.
goes in the school.
Yeah.
I mean, it, it's tough to say. Maybe they should hire someone to go in and actually figure the stuff out. I mean,
Yeah,
is
the
that
whole average daily membership it's just weird because when you think about it, some of those numbers are just so far off. It's just,
yeah.
I mean, what are you doing? I mean, but it's just hard to tell. There's so many variables that go into it, and it's just there's got to be something wrong that just isn't. Something just needs to be fixed, and it's just not. I don't know. It's
And
complicated.
it is complicated. I mean, if you take it, I mean, for us, even example in the A, maybe they should go to a four class A or a 4-class basketball system, just for the fact that it is super hard for us to compete, because
It is. Well,
we're the
they're
freaking
also like
smallest. Yeah,
one of the smallest, if not the smallest, A school, but that's just based on their numbers. And I mean, it's just when you look at it, I don't know. It's just they're. I think they'll get it figured out eventually.
we're so diverse. I mean, but if you think
Yeah.
about other states, like there's dang near 9, 10 divisions in Texas. But I mean, you do have to consider their population. But if you think about it, there's like all different there's all different types of stuff going on in Texas. And the
Hmm.
worst 9-man team or the worst 11-man team in Texas, the lowest average daily membership, might play the middle-rated uh, average daily membership team, and that's just kind of how it is. So I don't know. They're trying to protect the kids from getting an absolute obliteration, and hence the rule of the mercy rule coming into play.
Yeah.
I think they
Yep.
put that in a little while ago.
Yep. I think so.
That was
And
one of the first things they said on the agenda. But I don't know. I just think it's kind of I like it how it is.
yeah, and when you think about it, South Dakota is such a unique situation because you have the big schools and the small schools, and there's really not much
Right,
in between.
right.
And that's what they have to do is try and make it in between, but you just can't.
And you can't
It's
keep
just
adding classes, because it's, first of all, it's going to cost the state money or
mhm,
the association money, and it's just going to be a total monstrosity come state tournament time.
yeah,
And somebody's going to have to come up with a plan before things get out of hand, unless the population starts getting even in these towns. But that's not going to happen. So
yeah. There's just no because these big schools keep getting bigger and these smaller schools keep getting smaller, and eventually you're just gonna do this.
yeah,
And eventually you're just gonna have to say, okay, we're gonna have two classes, a big class and a small class. It's
yeah,
just I don't know. They're gonna have to figure out something, and with it always changing, it's just hard to find a single. Um, I don't know. It's just hard to find a single solution to it. So
right. I think we just leave it at there for now. That's kind of a interesting topic to talk about, though, because
yeah,
especially, I mean, just as us being in high schoolers and stuff, I mean, you don't want to say too much about it. Mm.
yeah.
Number 9. Oh yeah, this won't take very long. The meme of the draft, Bill Belichick's dog. That was great. I
It
loved it.
was really good. I gotta say, it was pretty good. Just stuff like that. The virtual draft in itself. I just want to touch on this a little bit. The virtual draft in itself, I must say, went a lot better than I thought, and it broke all of the viewing records, like
Yeah,
for the draft ever. I mean, it was just, oh, maybe they have to go to that from now on. I don't know, but
I don't know.
I don't
The
think you
in
can
drafting,
though because
yeah,
they make such an event over it.
and the atmosphere for the
Yeah.
25 or 20 players to get invited to go to the red carpet is
Hmm.
just crazy.
Yeah. Yep. And yeah, each like even there, like you just have each team individually. It's just no. There's just something about it that you just can't replace. I guess
Right.
I have to say. But here, topic 20.
20. I think that's our last topic. Isn't it? Yeah. Okay, this is probably one of the most interesting topics we have on here. Hafthor Bjornsson versus Eddie the Beast Hall in boxing. This has just got officially announced probably 2 or 1 week ago. But basically, what's going on is Hafthor Bjornsson recently broke the deadlift record. It was like 1,104 pounds, is like some 500 some kilograms, and just totally
like 501 because Eddie Hall's record was 500 on the dot, and he went for 501, I think. But
yeah, I think you're right. But anyway, he got it up pretty
yeah,
easy, and now Eddie is kind of salty about it and making a scene about it, and now they want to box. And apparently, they have signed a contract to fight at some point with some network over in the northern part of the world. I don't know. Anyways, it's gonna make a kill him. We just talked about it before the podcast.
it's not gonna be good.
It's gonna be terrible because in boxing you have to kind of be short and strong, and these guys are strong, but they're just monsters of a dude. I mean, Hafthor Bjornsson is 6 feet 9 inches tall, I think, and just a total unit. And Eddie the Beast Hall is not that big, but at the same time, he's a little bit bigger. So I don't know. I think it's going to be an absolute slugfest, and it's just going to, at the end, they're going to be totally dead because if you're that big, you cannot exert. And if they dedicate themselves, they might be able to make something out of it. But if you get hit by Hafthor Bjornsson in the head, you're going to be out for days.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think this is a very good idea on their part.
Yeah.
Because they're just two strongest dudes in the world just gonna start throwing punches at each other because they broke the deadlift record. But I mean, just the lift in general, just the way that Bjorgensen lifted that 1,014 pounds, it looked like he could have gone way heavier. I mean, like talked about Eddie Hall here, they go through like therapy because he had to use 100% of his muscle strength, and you can't do that unless you're like they had to train his mind to think it's a do or die situation. And Jorgensen just went up there and said, "Okay," and that's the way it looked. I mean, Eddie Hall had this big building just all watching him, and it's like 15 minutes. They interviewed him afterwards, and Jorgensen just said, "Okay." I mean, yeah, I don't think it's a very good idea, but oh well.
He's trying to make content on YouTube too.
Yeah.
All right. It's currently just about 9:30, so this is going to be a late podcast, but that's all right. I don't got anything better to do.
Earlier, 16.
Bengals, since the firing of Andy Dalton and the drafting of Burrow, can they turn things around? Well, we kind of talked about this at the beginning. I really don't think they can in the near future, but I think they need 3 solid years to possibly be a playoff team. What do you think?
I'm thinking that the whole releasing of Andy Dalton, I think Andy Dalton, he's not that bad of a quarterback. He's not the greatest. Let me just say that. He's not the greatest, but just to be a mentor for Joe Burrow, because, you can't just, maybe you can with Joe Burrow. I don't know. His senior season was just out of this world. You just can't compare it to anything. But I don't think Joe Burrow is just going to be able to, like, turn from the college to NFL just like this. I mean, I really don't think it's going to be that easy. But I don't know. I'd say give it a couple years for sure. Especially, it's the Bengals. So it's just one of those teams. It's not as near as bad as the Browns, but
they're going to need somebody or something to happen in free agency or get lucky from somebody that develops themselves and apply themselves and maybe get a good coach along the line that comes through the woodwork and puts himself and applies himself. They need somebody to apply themselves and start something there because they're in a rough situation and they might become the next generation of the Browns. Ohio football just sucks.
Yeah. It's just an interesting situation. I really don't think Burrow's just going to be able to go right from college to,
And if you think about it, like, I just think he wasn't that good all years of college. If you think about other quarterbacks, I mean, Trevor Lawrence, Cam Newton, the quarterbacks who were successful, I mean, Manziel, they weren't all successful in the NFL. I mean, Dak Prescott was fairly successful all years of college. I mean, all of these quarterbacks, I mean, especially Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady was very successful. I mean, I don't know. Success for
It's just
Burrow only
it's just
happened 1 year.
yeah. You look at his college, and he really didn't do much freshman or sophomore year.
Yeah.
Junior, he really didn't do much. Then senior year, he just I don't know, something happened, and he just it's really interesting. I don't think he'll have much success in the
Yep.
NFL, but that's just me.
I could agree.
13.
Who will turn out better, Herbert or Tua? We kind of covered this, so we don't need to cover it in too much depth. Excuse me. I really think Herbert is going to turn out better of the two. And
Yeah.
I hope the best for Tua, but if you think about quarterbacks who are similar to Tua, it's Vic and then pretty much nobody.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a little bit more of a passer than Vic. Minus the injuries, I think he's going to be all right. But you look at Herbert, you can compare him to most pocket passers, plus a little Lamar Jackson running in the back. I mean, he's kind of your dual threat quarterback, and that's something that he's going to bring to the table in Los Angeles with the Chargers. I really think that Herbert is the ultimate package of the two. I think Burrow's better than both of them, but
Yeah.
I think Herbert's better than Tua.
I think so too. And just, I don't know, Tua's situation, it's really interesting because you look at the Dolphins, they haven't had much success in the years. Ryan Fitzpatrick, he's just kind of up and down. I mean, he played out of his mind at the end of the season last year, but just
Yeah.
I don't know. I just foresee Justin Herbert having a much brighter future in the NFL than Tua, and maybe even Joe Burrow. I mean, between Tua and Joe Burrow, I really don't think either of them is going to have much success in the NFL. But I mean, I hope they prove me wrong.
I see what you're saying. There's people that, I mean, the system is made for people like Herbert. It
Yeah.
really is.
Yep.
It's not made for people like Burrow. I mean, it's kind of made for Burrow, but it's really not made for Tua. It's
No.
It's made for Joe Burrow, and it's made for the Justin Herberts of the world. And if you can go in and establish yourself after 2 years, maybe you can do a Lamar Jackson. But right now, I just don't see Tua being very successful.
Yeah, it's just not something's not aligning right, and I don't know, like I said, I hope he proves me wrong, but you never know. Number 4.
The Patriots draft. It was very interesting, for sure, as they traded out of the first round to try to get more picks, and it's just rough, dude. I don't understand what they were going after. If I can I don't remember exactly who they drafted, so I'm gonna pull that up quick. I just think it's very, very odd here when I get it up here. I'll kind of tell you what they did. So it was like I said, it was very weird. They didn't really go after who they needed, and there's a lot of reports about them. So the 2020 draft, they traded out of the first round, and then they took Kyle Duggar at 37.
Yep.
They really took nobody good. Took an O-lineman, a tight end, a linebacker, a kicker, kind of just filling in holes with a bunch of nobodies. Duggar is about their best guy they have, and he's a DB. I don't know, filling that spot. But it's interesting. They didn't really do what they needed, man.
Between the draft and free agency, like, what did the Patriots get out of free agency? They traded away Tom Brady for, like, what did they even get for Tom Brady? I can't even remember. It wasn't much.
I don't remember.
And then they traded away Gronk, who was, like, retired already, but so they were basically just unloaded their salary cap. But when you think about it, they did not really draft anybody to help them unless they wanted to I guess they want to stay with Jared Stidham, or they can get
somebody.
Cam Newton, which I don't know if he'd really work there, or no, that'd be it. Because
here's the plan, Lars. Here's what's going to happen. It's conspiracy theory. They're going to tank this year, and they're going to get Lawrence at number 1 next year.
yeah, I've been hearing that too.
Or if he is eligible, and if he decides to, I don't know.
Yeah, but when it's just not. That doesn't seem like something Bill Belichick would do.
Right.
Like when you think about it, you've never seen him tank in his however many year career.
Right, and the freaking Patriots haven't not won the freaking AFC, whatever their AFC division is. Is it no? It's not North. Is it East? I think it's AFC East. They haven't not won the AFC East in like a long time.
Yeah,
like it's Patriots every year, and then next year I'm guarantee you it'll be the Bills. The Bills will walk right through it.
Oh yeah, because when you look at even defensive firepower for the Patriots, it really hasn't ever been great. But now, really, it's just, I mean, I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to see. But if they do decide to tank for Trevor Lawrence, I'd be shocked. But you never know.
That'd be great, dude. That'd be great.
It would be pretty interesting to see.
It'll also be interesting to see how Lawrence does in his junior season.
Yeah.
Clemson's going to be a powerhouse next year. Like, good luck stopping them. Travis Etienne, dude. Oh, my gosh. Him and, dude, they're going to be loaded. All right, 14.
Yeah, 14.
Let's go. How should the NBA address the commencement of their season? Well, is it for sure, like, done?
No, as far as I've heard, Adam Silver's going to make a decision in 2 to 4 weeks. But it's to the point now where you've gone, let's see, March 11th was the big day that, like, everything shut down in sports. Since then, it's been 2 months and 2 days. So from then, 2 weeks from now, it'd be 2.5, almost 3 months since we've seen any NBA action. And I don't know. He's going to make a decision about 2 to 4 weeks, but it's just going to be really interesting because you're so far, like, into this whole COVID stuff, and you just kind of have to.
Yeah.
Sometime you're going to have to reach a point where you just can't delay it anymore, and you just have to call it. But I really don't know.
I think I would. Because you can't do, if he just starts playoffs now, what happens to awards? I mean, Zion was coming up with the Pelicans. They're in the number 9 spots. They could have taken, I mean, Ja Morant was having a season, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows what the Warriors are going to look like next year, too. I mean, you don't know. I mean, Kevin Durant could have came back. I mean,
yeah. It's just
there's a lot of things.
It's just such an interesting situation that at some point, like, nobody really knows what's happening, even now, and we're 2 months in.
Yeah.
Nobody really knows what's happening. So at some point, you just got to be like, look, we can't drag this on anymore. And from what I've heard, a lot of the pros want to play. Mm-hmm. But that's because that's their job. Like, that's like their 9-to-5 job.
Yep.
Except it's not 9 to 5. It's probably a lot more or a lot less. That's just what they do. So, I mean, I don't know. It'll be really interesting. That's why Adam Silver gets paid the big bucks.
Right. And I heard something about Goodell, Roger Goodell giving some, or like all his salary back, or a certain amount of salary back to the thing or something. I don't remember what the whole thing was, but do you remember?
I think he gave back his month's salary for donation to relief.
Also, one quick thing we should cover quick is the fact that Goodell gave away a spot in his freaking man cave to a person for like the all-in challenge in Portnoy. Got it, dude.
Yeah.
And Barstool was freaking banned from all NFL, dude. Oh, yeah. Dude. And he freaking made the towels, and he made the towels with the freaking.
Yeah. It's interesting.
What do you call them on the? He made towels after the Deflategate with Goodell's face on it, like with a. I don't remember what the whole deal was, but. Yeah. Oh, that's gonna be like that's gonna be the most enjoyable thing.
$250,000 he.
Holy crap!
That's just insane. But I mean, it's
Ah,
going to charity, so good for them. I mean, but
God dang. Dude, that's going to be one of the most interesting things ever.
yeah, anything with Portnoy in it is really interesting, dude. That's just how it goes. I
I
mean,
love that guy, though. He
the
does really
dude's
good pizza
eaten
reviews.
the dude's eaten and reviewed pizza every day for 2 years.
I have the freaking app on my phone.
Yeah,
All right,
15.
15. Where do you rank Steve Kerr and Phil Jackson on the all-time coaching list in the NBA? All right, I, I don't know. I think Phil Jackson is the best coach to ever coach, and Steve Kerr is probably top 5. But if we're going on legacy, Steve Kerr has the best legacy in NBA history.
Yeah, and it's yeah. I'd have to agree with you there. Phil Jackson, I mean, he held that Bulls team together
Yes.
when you think about it, because
I
Jerry
mean, and
Krause,
it's
one
more
of
and
the
more evident on the
yeah, it's just you just you can't just deny the fact that he was one of the greatest of all time and probably the greatest. Steve Kerr, he's got to be up there because just the Warriors dynasty in general. I mean, even him as a player,
That's what I'm saying. Like,
let alone as a
there's a
coach.
different
But
there's a difference between a coach and like the coaching standpoint and the legacy standpoint. Because Steve Kerr's legacy is
yeah, yeah,
by far the best.
hmm
I mean,
that's just
Michael's up there too. I mean, as well as Phil Jackson and LeBron and Kobe, but Steve Kerr's got them all because he played, won all them championships, helped out, made that shot, dude. I mean,
hmm
and then he goes on to coach the
yeah,
Warriors to a 3-time NBA champions and making it a couple years almost like a couple years in a row, setting the new regular season winning record, beating the Chicago Bulls, his own record back in the day. He definitely has a legacy for sure. But do, does Phil Jackson, in your opinion, fill the role of the number one coach in the history of the NBA?
you mean I know you gotta think so because just I haven't actually watched the full Last Dance documentary. I probably should, but I haven't yet. But one thing that I've seen from like clips and stuff is that
Oh, I thought I cut out for a second. I cut
that
out for a second.
it was pretty bad. Something happened, but technical difficulties. We apologize. But
Yeah.
um, Phil Jackson held that team together because Jerry Krause did not like Michael Jordan. He wanted him gone, and Phil just like, come on, just let him play, let him play, let him play. And that's just from what I've seen. I mean, you
I mean,
kind of
everything he's done.
have to.
Yeah. All right. Let's go on to the next one.
All right, I gotta share my screen again. This whole sharing screen deal, it's pretty confusing.
It's nifty though.
It is pretty nifty. I will give it that.
It's nifty.
All right, topic 18.
All right. 18 says, okay, UFC Fight Island and the thoughts of that. Well, I don't think it will happen anymore because of the fact that they're already doing fights and it doesn't really matter anyways. But I just like to note that UFC is just for the fact that you can hear everything that's going on in the ring. You can hear the coaches talking, and you can hear every hit. You can hear everything going on. You can hear the ref. You can hear when someone hits a punch. It's just very unique without the fan experience. And I don't think that the UFC is one of those things that you need fans to do it. Because if you go out and you slough off, you are going to have a broken face and possible brain damage, and that's how it is.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I want to note quick here before I know you didn't probably watch a whole lot of UFC.
I watched some. It was actually really, really interesting to watch.
It was very interesting, especially the highlights of it. But UFC 249, I think it was Ferguson versus, I don't know how the heck you say that, Gaffey. Gathy? Anyway,
I
Gathy or
don't know.
something like that. But
Yeah.
Ferguson came in really heavy favored, and Gathy he whooped him. After I don't think it was. I think it was came down to the judges, but I don't think it was a KO. But
Yeah.
Gathy he after the thing was just in a different mindset. Like he was like, I want to go fight. I want to go fight Khabib, and he threw his belt away because it was only an intermediate belt, and he's like, I want to go fight the big guns, and this guy is a literal nobody, and he was like literal. It was just terrible, like to look at this guy, like
Hmm.
he said like he was prepared to die. He walked out there and was prepared to die.
Yeah.
It's just them guys are something else.
They
Like
are.
like Conor McGregor can go out there and do that, but I just think that guy's going to be something.
Mhm. Back to the whole Fight Island deal. I mean, from what I've heard, they're
Anyways, what's
still
your thoughts?
from what I've heard, they're still building it and whatever. I mean, it'd be pretty cool. I mean, to have your own like island just for UFC fights, but they're already fighting right now, so I mean, it really doesn't
Yeah,
make that much of a difference. But like you touched on the fan experience, it's just so different without the fans there.
yeah,
Because every punch there's just a big roar and you can tell who people are cheering for, obviously. But
yep,
just without it, you can hear everything, and I think it makes such a big difference in like the viewer experience.
yeah,
That's something
definitely.
you didn't have before. I don't know. Some people think it's better. I really don't watch that much UFC, so I can't really, you know, I can't really vouch for either
It's a
side.
spectacle
But
for sure.
yeah, can't really vouch for either side. But that's all right. Well, I think it'll be very interesting to see. I don't think they'll do Fight Island, but
That'd be
if
cool.
they do, they do. It'd be pretty cool. You gotta give it that.
Yeah, getting down there.
Eventually, we're gonna run out of topics. Eventually,
All right, number 3.
with three.
Uh, when should we expect the return of sports at the earliest? It's tough to say, really. I think we'd be lucky to see sports by. Well, we did get UFC back, kind of, but I mean, that's kind of its own thing at this point right now.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think we should expect the return of sports by August-ish at the latest, and maybe mid-July. That's what I'm gonna say.
There is. I just like to state this really quick. There is a proposal out there that MLB is going to get started June-ish. They're
Yeah,
gonna have a condensed season, only like regional games. I think they said, but that's just a proposal. But I think the return of sports, you know, we're riding this whole roller coaster ride, and honestly, sports is probably the thing we should be worried about least at this point.
right.
Because you see how our economy has been doing, not very good. How people have been doing, not very good. How politics, I mean, I'm not going to get political at all because it's a sports podcast, but they're not doing good. Anything's just kind of in the tank. But I mean, it would be really nice to have back. But I'd say about July is when we start getting them back.
Yep.
Month and a half from now, that's about July. So I think that's when you can start seeing some normalcy come back, even though you really haven't been seeing that very much. So
I couldn't agree more.
18.
18.
Yep.
Gotta scroll down a bit. We already did 18, Chief.
All right, let's spin again. 17. Have we done 17? We have not done 17.
Should the NCAA be worried about basically the G League in general? And the top recruits skipping out. I heard a thing. I think there's like 3 of the top 220 basketball recruits of 2020 are going to G League instead of college.
Yep.
That's a big number, especially especially for the fact that money. I mean, it's a money thing. It really is.
Yeah,
When it
it
comes down
definitely
to it,
is.
though, it's about schooling. It's about schooling too, though. I mean, the G League is promising these kids that they'll pay for their schooling too while they're playing in the G League, and doing that. But I just don't think that they want to even go to college. Like, if you want education, you're gonna go to college. So you're
Yeah.
gonna figure out here and fast whose parents are driving them to be a better person, or who doesn't want to go to college because they're probably not smart enough to do college, and do it that way. And one thing we should note quick is I'm having a complete brain fart right now, but give me a second. It's called the uh, con- I have a complete brain fart. Oh yeah, the Wonderlic test. The Wonderlic test and the NFL Combine. Tua Tagovailoa had one of the lowest Wonderlic scores in the whole freaking draft class. That is saying something. So that means that he probably didn't do much in college, and someone did all his work for him.
Which, I mean, when you think about it, that probably happens a lot more than you think.
Exactly.
Because if you're, especially from an NBA standpoint, you go to college 1 year just to try and survive college and play
Yep.
good, and then go to the NBA to get paid. I mean, it's all, I shouldn't say it's all about money. It's almost always about the money. And you see the people that go 3-4 years in college, it's because they want to be a better player and
Yeah.
or a better person and a better player, I guess you could say. But um, I don't think the NCAA should be too worried. But if that number starts, like, we're not even talking
Yeah.
about top recruits, just people in general, players in general that are going to the G League. If that number starts to increase, I believe they probably should be worried. But for now, I don't think they should be too worried. I mean, all the NCAA worries about is money anyway. But
I think that if this starts to happen more and more, the NCAA basketball tournament is going to be very, very, very competitive, because not all these top recruits are going to be on the stacked Duke team or the stacked Villanova team. They're going to be already in the G League, so you're going to get and it's gonna boost up the lower guys even a little bit more. So if you can go here, maybe this lower guy who doesn't get a scholarship just got offered a scholarship now. It's helping
yeah,
everybody out. I mean, if this happened 4 years ago, Ty Hoagland would have been freaking going to State or Minnesota to play basketball, just because the recruits weren't there.
mm-hmm. Yep. That you do bring up a good point, is because if they drive up the competitiveness of the games, you think that drive up the viewership, because most
Right.
people will be interested in viewing good games, not just a lot of these blowouts. But which, I mean, in the March Madness tournament, a lot of them are really good games, so
Yes.
you gotta give them that. But
Yeah. Yeah.
even so, topic 8.
8 says, will the Chiefs go back to back, or who will win it this season? The NFL is a very interesting topic right now, just because of the fact we're not completely certain we're getting it back, but we're pretty sure we are. We're not like
Yeah,
100%, but I don't know. Who do you think goes all the way and wins it? Early prediction,
early predictions. It's really hard to
like
tell
super early.
because the Chiefs, they're a contender.
Yep.
Ravens are a contender. The Buccaneers are a contender. You got to think the Saints will be up there somewhere.
I'm gonna throw the Bills in there just cause.
The Bills, because there's really no competition in their division, and you never know how far they could go.
Right.
So there's 5 teams that could go all the way. Can't forget about the 49ers. The 49ers are definitely still up there. They didn't
The
have
Seahawks.
too bad of a draft. Seahawks are going to be pretty good.
The Vikings can pull their stuff together. I don't know if we're Super Bowl contenders, but at the same time, you don't even know what the Vikings. They could be Super Bowl contenders. They could go 0-16.
Yep. It really could go either way. But I mean,
That's how they
I
are.
think it's to the point where you touched on it too, that we don't know if we're even having a season at this point.
Yep.
So it's really hard to tell. But it'd be really bad if we didn't have an NFL season. Then we'd be worrying a lot less about the NFL than what we should be. But it's just really hard to tell. Do the Chiefs go back to back? No, but they make it far. I'm just going to throw that out there. No, but they make it a ways.
I got the Chiefs and the Saints in the Super Bowl this year, and I think I'm gonna take the Saints winning the thing. Super early prediction.
Super prediction. You got the Saints going all the way. I got the Chiefs going most of the way, but from there, I'm just kind of mind boggled.
I don't think the Ravens are gonna be very good.
Well, that is true. You don't think the Ravens might not be good, but Lamar Jackson will be.
That's tough to say, man.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I just don't see.
It could, yeah.
All right.
I want to believe that one, but oh well. Topic 1: who had the best draft?
Well, I think we talked about this before. Clearly, the best draft, and most people would agree. I mean, most of the draft experts say that the Vikings had the best draft because of the trades they had, the picks they made, and Jefferson falling to them. It couldn't have been anything better, other than their later picks. I don't know. And they also got, a pretty good tackle in Ezra Cleveland from Boise State, just to top it off. So 15 total picks, really bringing in the big guns.
Yeah, I got to say, you either got to give the Vikings the picks or, I mean, it's just tough to say this, but the Dallas Cowboys actually they pulled their stuff together. Jerry Jones went on his private yacht, had somebody hold up his phone for him to send in the picks, and they actually had a really good draft. So, I mean, between the Vikings and the Cowboys, you really could go either way.
Yep. Totally agree. I think the Cowboys are going to be a team to look out for next year, though, especially if McCarthy can get that thing going. Number 8, we already did that.
Topic 8, okay.
I think 19 still on the thing. We already did that, but
yeah. What do you know? We got it, didn't we? We did not do 19.
No, we didn't, did we? All right. Will there be an NCAA football 21? I really, really hope so. That would be so intriguing, and it would make bank, especially if they can, if monetary, money can be given to the kids. I definitely think it should be a thing. Will there be? Tough to say. They're going to have to throw it together quick. It's really, really hard to say, especially just, I don't know. I mean, they've already used some colleges and a special game mode in Madden this year. I don't remember what it's called.
It's a really interesting thing to talk about because you have to design it and everything, but how much money would go back to the players. And I think from a player's standpoint, this would really benefit you a lot because especially if you make the cover of the dang thing, oh my gosh, you're making bank. But just the amount of hype there is behind it, if they release it, so many people are going to buy it.
Oh, it'd be stupid.
It'd be a stupid number. So many people would buy it.
And if they jack the price to $60, $65, and you start doing the math, they're going to make probably dang near a couple, probably even 10 million or more. Start tossing that out start tossing that out to major colleges. I don't know.
Hey, it's just another one of those things that it could happen and it could not happen. I don't know. It really could go either way.
And the things that go behind that too.
Yeah. Topic 5.
5. The New Look Buccaneers or the Patriots? Who will end up better this season? Well, we pretty much talked about this. The Patriots kind of screwed themselves in the draft.
The Patriots really did nothing in free agency or draft-wise, so I don't think this one's going to be close.
And the Bucs really picked up some good players, especially in the draft with Wirfs. Well, that couldn't have been any better for them. Really good pick with Wirfs and filling in some holes. Defensively, I don't know how they're going to look. But if their offense can score every drive, it'd be hard to stop.
Yeah. If you get a really high-powered offense. This shouldn't even. I don't think it'll be close. The Bucks will run away with that competition anyway. And then make it to the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl, first time they've ever won a Super Bowl. That's been hopeful. We just did 19. Okay. Really, gotta shake the rust off here. You'd think after an hour we'd have the rust down. We'd have the rust off. But 15, we already did 15.
We have 7, 6, and 2 left.
Well, there's 7.
Oh, and and 10.
Yeah.
All right, Jameis Winston to the Saints. Very interesting, considering they have Bridgewater and wait, do they still have Bridgewater? Where'd Teddy go? Teddy went somewhere.
I don't think they have Teddy Bridgewater anymore.
Oh, they don't. He went somewhere. Where'd he go?
Yeah, where did he go?
I'm gonna see if I can find it. See if you can find it too. I'll let you look, and then I'll kind of fill in gaps here. But I think that Teddy probably was better than Jameis for sure, considering that
he's with the Panthers.
He's with the Panthers. Oh yeah.
Anyways,
yeah. So then they got Taysom. They got Taysom Hill, Drew Brees. Obviously, I don't know. Is Drew Brees out of his prime? It's tough to say. I think that they probably didn't need him. I don't know why they need 3 quarterbacks, but it's whatever Sean Payton wants.
You look at it. Drew Brees, nearing the end of his career, you'd have to think. And again, we've been saying that a lot, and he's still playing.
Right.
But when Taysom Hill's one of those guys, they played him at quarterback, running back, wide receiver, returner, and like a safety last year. So he's just one of those guys you can throw in like anywhere other than the line and linebackers, and you're going to be fine. So I don't know. And maybe with Jameis Winston's new vision, he got his vision fixed. Maybe he can not throw 30 interceptions and throw 3 and turn out to be a really good quarterback. But you never know.
Yep.
It'll be really interesting. I don't know what they're going to do with 3 quarterbacks, but that's besides the point.
All right, getting down there. Topic 2, Green Bay's future with Rodgers. Well, we kind of briefly touched on it, and we said we were going to talk about it later. But here's what I think. It's going to be pretty much considerably, really, really close to what happened to Favre in the later years of his career. I think Rodgers will jump around from team to team, possibly even hit 2 more teams before he hits retirement. I think Rodgers goes somewhere else and doesn't finish his career with the Packers, and Love takes over, even if Love isn't good enough to take over just because of their ego.
Yeah.
But
I have to agree with you there. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to finish his career out with the Packers, and maybe he does. I don't know, but I really don't think so. I think he's going to do what you said, something like Brett Favre did, where he's going to bounce around from team to team before his career's over. I'd say maybe go to 2 more teams. I'd say probably just go to 1 and just try and stick it out. If not, they go to 2, then that's fine. He goes to 2 different teams, but I don't think he finishes his career with the Packers.
Yeah. Last 2.
Topic 6.
NCAA endorsement plan. I don't know what they plan on doing specifically to get this to work. I mean, it's going to be very, very interesting to see how colleges react to it. Mm-hmm. Because if the NCAA gives them money, who knows? Is the money actually going to go to the kids? Is it going to go to the kids? I mean, is it going to go to giving them scholarship? Is it going to go to giving them the actual money so they can use the money? I don't know.
It'll be really interesting because once you turn the money over to the colleges, you really can't monitor where it's going because the college just could throw it into their funds and say, yeah, we paid the kids, but you really didn't. So, I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see because
here's my idea. If they want to do this, they need to directly wire their money from their account that they made to them directly, so then it doesn't pass through the college because the college will pull some bullcrap.
Mm-hmm. That's just how it's going to be because you wouldn't think colleges need that much money, but they use a lot of money. So, I mean.
Every dime.
Yep. So it'll be really interesting to see if they even find a way to work it out. Maybe they don't. I don't know. But you got to think they got to work something out eventually. And then the final topic, what's the Dallas Cowboys and their future?
Okay. Well, the Cowboys really set themselves up for success in the draft, just mainly for the fact that I mean, who was it that drafted? CeeDee Lamb,
CeeDee
right?
Lamb, first round, yep.
Yeah.
Fell to him
See,
at 16? No, 17.
which was very impressive. I just think that what they did is going to be very good. If McCarthy can pull that band together, dude, I'm gonna guarantee you if they can pull the band together, they're gonna at least go 2 rounds in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think with their future, I don't know. It'll be really interesting, especially since they hired Andy Dalton. You got to think. I've been listening to a couple podcasts that have been touching on this. Since Dak is on the franchise tag, he gets a certain amount a year, and he's only that 1 year contract. Well, then, since he's holding out, he wants a really big contract, like more than Patrick Mahomes, but we don't know how much he wants yet, which is going to be stupid amounts of money. But maybe the year doesn't work out, and Jerry Jones just said, you know what, I don't want to have to deal with this. Release Dak, put in Andy Dalton, because Andy Dalton's a proven starter. I'm not saying he's the greatest quarterback ever, but he's definitely not the worst ever to
I
play. I mean, he took a
I
Bengals team
yeah.
to 4 playoffs. He didn't win any of them, obviously, but he still took them to the 4 playoffs.
I think that Dak knows that. I think Dak. Oh, I'm almost positive. I think Dak knows for sure that Jerry has all this money in his pocket and money to spend, and Jerry's trying to conserve this money to do other things and sign other players. Well, at this point, what's it gonna matter if you make 22 or if you make 22 million less than what it is? I mean, if you already make 200 million, what are you gonna need 22 million for in the future? Like,
Yeah.
save it for somebody else, dude. That's 22 greater players. I mean, if you sign one million contracts, maybe you could do something on your practice squad to help out. I mean,
Yeah.
whatever you can get.
It's just an interesting situation, and we're just going to have to see how it plays out. And that's all I can really say, because we really have no idea, like, with anything, how they're going to do and whatever. So, well, with that, I believe that wraps up anything, unless you want to add anything.
Well, I would just like to congratulate Mr. Hetland and Tia on their hopefully baby coming up. When is it due?
I have no idea.
Well, never mind. I don't know when it's hopefully due, but I know they are expecting. So congratulations to them, and well wishes to you guys. And so yeah, I don't know what plans are for the CharCole podcast next year or in the future. So this might be the last one you see from us. It might not. Stuff to say. That's about all I got. So thanks you guys for watching.
Yep. Thank you for putting up with us for 22 episodes. Yeah, I really have no idea what we're gonna do. Maybe it doesn't continue, and maybe it does. You never know. So with that, from Cole Larsh and Charlie Preen, and thank you to Zoom for making this possible, because it's very interesting. I don't know if this is even going to work. You never know. We'll see. So yeah, with that, thank you for watching, and if there's another episode, we'll hopefully see you there.